we're just bantering. Me and Gold's here talking. He's behind the camera. That's how you know this is authentic and real. But Pinkbike audience, thanks for joining us. This is the third time we've hung out at this couch for Pinkbike Live. We're sitting with Remi Gauvin and Katy Winton. We're going to do a little Enduro retrospective today. Turns out people love Enduro. We've got way more questions today than we've had all week. So you guys,
pretty fun. So
yeah, you've got a lot in common with our viewers out there. Are you guys still recovering from the massive race just a couple days ago? Or
I'm still exhausted. My calves are burning. My low on sleep. Yeah, it's time to chill out a bit and yeah, recover from the rest.
Everybody was saying that this was a little bit more intense than most stops on the BWS. Like there weren't any like rest stages. It was all pretty full on hardcore. Was that your experience as well? It was pretty intense. Yeah. Have you spent a ton of time around here in Whistler? Did you know any of the stages before you showed up to practice? Did you know a lot of the trails already?
Yeah, I've been riding Whistler since I was just a little kid, so some of the valley trails I'm not as familiar with on that side of the valley, but everything on this side, bike park, top of the world, ride on slide, I've ridden since I was just a young kid, so yeah.
It seems like there's so many trails here. Even if you grew up here, there could be an Enduro race with stages that include trails that you've never ridden. Just an insane amount of riding.
Exactly, like the bike park is its own separate beast, and then those valley trails are completely different to anything on this side. So this side we have nice loam, and that side's pretty rocky, pretty chumbery, and pretty gnarly.
I think the reason why we get so many questions for our Enduro crew today is because Enduro is that discipline that everybody can relate to. It's mountain biking. It just happens to be a structured format of racing that includes like the most soulful part of the sport that everybody kind of does in their free time. So I think our first question that we got from Wacky, Pinkbike user Wacky Design, I think it's something that a lot of people would be curious about. He's wondering your guys' tactics on terrain reading. How do you learn that? Is that something that's like a natural skill, or do you actually practice for coming into sections where you don't know what's around that blind rise, that blind corner? Is that kind of an X factor for being a good Enduro racer? What would be some tips for people who are trying to increase their skill in the terrain reading department?
I think looking ahead is a big one. In Enduro, especially when you don't know what's coming up, if you're riding the trail for the first time, and being really strategic where you're braking, where you're not braking, and then setting up outside the corners and trying to widen the trail out as much as possible. But like Katy said, I think it's not just train reading isn't a skill in itself, it's just a combination of all the skills which you're building throughout your riding career. And yeah, it's just something that comes naturally over time.
If you're following the EWS, have you found that there are some stops where you can trust the trail building a little more than other places?
Absolutely.
Maybe with friends, it's literally just like something like you get to some friends and you're like, oh, what's right here? And they just like got little flags all over the place, like you just have to like point out here, that's what
the European tracks are a lot less purpose built, and then you come to places like here, Tasmania, where the tracks are built for mountain biking, so usually they flow a little bit better than some of the European tracks.
It makes sense. So I've done a little bit of riding in France in certain parts where. Oh yeah. I'm talking to myself. Yeah, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, it's too loud. Okay. So we've got tape on our microphone. We're gonna have to leave that. But to your point, I have ridden certain spots where we realize after one ride first trail, and you can't trust the lines. Like, there's that classic video on YouTube where it's like the lemmings. Like, one person sees a corner, thinks it's a jump, just boom, flies into the ski hill. You guys see that?
Oh yeah, I've ridden that trail, and I actually have no idea how they did that because it's completely obvious that the trail goes left.
So it's not the trail builder's fault, like we all thought. Those riders were not paying attention.
They were not paying attention. They were following the leader.
They just wanted to send it anywhere.
Too big of a party the night before, not doing their homework in the terrain. Alright, this computer has a passcode when it goes to sleep. So we're going to need someone to put it. We'll get the passcode. We have some really good questions in there for you guys. Unfortunately, they're locked from our eyeballs.
All you and me.
Now the world knows the passcode to your laptop. How did the race go for you guys? Where did you place? Woo! Nice work. Nice. Congratulations, you guys. We got Yoann Barelli over there. He's going to be rolling in eventually. He's got a hilarious get up, and you're going to see that as soon as he decides he's going to steal the place of one of our guests right now. And we also have our winner, Melamed, who's going to be rolling in. We got our questions back. Thank you, technical crew. So this is for Katy. We've got one Pinkbike here wondering, what's your favorite trail in the Tweed Valley? Where's the Tweed Valley? You want to keep it secret, don't you? The Enduro World Series can be grueling for long travel. She forgot all the Jabo. So, go ride Jabo. User. We don't know the user. So, this one's kind of interesting. We talked about how Enduro is probably the most weighted. Super grueling, so most riders can't relate to what you guys put yourselves through. But even though it's hard to follow for the audience in terms of video, it still seems to be getting a huge following. The crowd at the bottom of the finish line 2 days ago was nuts. And this user, Ed J, is asking, AJH446 is asking, what do you think needs to happen to make Enduro more appealing to the video audience?
I've been thinking about this a little bit, and I think that it's really great when there's a smaller trail network that we can race every trail, all the trails are close together. It makes spectating a lot more friendly, I think, and the potential for cameras to get into the trails and everything. So an event like Tasmania, where it was a small hill, but lots of trails, very close together, the spectators were allowed they could walk from trail to trail, stage to stage, without having to hike up that mountain, up this mountain, and yeah, it was really cool because they could move from one stage to the next and cheer you on every stage.
I feel like every discipline kind of goes through that stage too of balancing out the authenticity and just the realness of the sporting aspect with the way to kind of increase the entertainment value, and you never really want one to be compromised. So did you feel like at that event maybe the stages weren't as exciting because they were maybe smaller, or nothing compromised?
Well, that's the trade-off. You don't get as long stages because the hill's quite small, but those stages were really fun. It was one of my favorite races of the year, even though it poured rain on us the whole day.
Again.
But we'll leave that for another time. But yeah, the trails there are amazing, and it's just a different form of racing, like shorter stages, more full-on, more intense every stage. Whereas the long stages, you have to pace yourself a little bit, and yeah.
You should have seen us down the bottom of Ride Don't Slide. We were all like going like snails, just like trying to get down that thing. 20 minutes in, you're just like, ooh, all the way down.
Both of you guys, like Enduro kind of encompasses a lot of different things for mountain biking, but what was both of your backgrounds? Katy, you first. What kind of competitive discipline did you come from before Enduro?
I came from cross country.
Okay, cool.
So I think when Enduro first came around, that was kind of an advantage because it was such massive days. Like, it was so big, and they were just figuring it all out. But as the sport's progressed, I think it's turned more sort of into more downhill advantage for sure. Fitness is easy to work on. building that speed and confidence riding bigger terrain and gnarlier tracks and stuff it just takes time. So that's been a big change for me.
Probably have to be crazy well-rounded to be at the top of the game in EWS, and I'm guessing we probably have pretty good balance on the couch right now. Because coming from Whistler, I'm going to assume you started out downhill racing?
Yeah, so I started racing downhill when I was my 12, 13 years old, and I raced World Cup for a few years, went to World Champs, and so yeah, that's my background as a downhiller, and then I had to bring all those skills and translate them onto the trail bike, and in doing so gain a lot of fitness as well, because my downhill fitness was for short, intense runs and
Fitzsimmons chair laps.
Exactly, and now we're racing, you know, all day out there for 7.5 hours. So yeah, it takes a little while to get that fitness up, but it's coming.
So that leads right into the next question about bike setup from SNL 1200, maybe a Saturday Night Live cast member. They're wondering, tell us about your bike setups. It looks like a fine line between performance and durability in EWS races. What risks and compromises do you make when you compare an EWS setup to an ideal, typical setup?
I think that, yeah, we definitely have to compromise the performance with the durability. I definitely set my bike up a little heavier than, say, the average trail rider who's going out for an afternoon ride would. Definitely going to be a little bit harder to pedal my bike up the hill than say theirs with light tires and everything. Yeah, run double down tires from Maxxis and definitely increases the weight. Right now I'm running a coil shock, which is also, you know, not as light as the air, and but yeah, we can't afford to get a flat at any point during the day, and yeah, that'll ruin your day. So definitely want to have a more durable setup.
Yeah, for sure, I agree with that. Like, I run everything a little bit harder, and you just want to last the whole day. Stick tires, everything. I also ran a 34-tooth chainring at the weekend.
34?
Because, yeah, so a bigger chainring because I needed to go quicker on the downhill,
yeah.
But I was walking up the hills, and the normal rider's not going to want to walk up hills all the time, but because I'm racing, I was like, well, I'm just going to walk and save the legs, but then I want to be able to pedal faster going down. So.
Some of the climbs here for these stages are probably so steep that like walking alongside your bike is probably the best bet anyway.
Yeah, well, that's it. You weren't really going to ride. In Whistler, everyone just wants to get up that hill, and they've just built roads, and they just go straight up. We're just going to go up there,
yeah.
The quickest way possible.
Canadians don't mess around. Like, get the big machine and make a road so I can get to the top of that hill.
Quickly.
Yeah. So in the middle of a stage, sometimes you probably have to be your own mechanic too. And I was noticing you have a pretty cool set of tools on your bike. Tell me about that one-up toolkit.
Yeah, it's the new little one-up thing that goes in your into your headset, and it's like got a chain tool, it's got Allen keys, everything. You've got a little bit that you can put your CO2 on and everything, and it's real neat and just hidden within the frame. And then I attached like a tube and a CO2 as well to my bike, so just trying to take stuff off my back and it's there ready if a problem was to happen. So.
Yeah. We got a good question. I'm sure a lot of people love to talk about the wheel debate, and we had Tracy Hanna in here a couple days ago. We were kind of talking about wheels, and we were relating it back a little bit to it just kind of has to fit the rider, you know, like a rock climber doesn't need to wear a size 14 shoe just because it has more surface area. You have to be able to fit the bike. We had Casey Brown in here too. We were talking about it. So Hobmag from YouTube, Hobmarg asks, for you, Katy, as a smaller rider, how do you feel on the Slash 29er?
Actually, well good, eh? Like, I love that bike. When I got on it in last October, I took it to my trails at home and I rode the tightest, steepest thing I could find, and it went down it, not even a problem. I didn't even, like, people are like, oh, big wheels can't get around turns, and it just got around it. Like, Drago really nailed it because that is a tiny frame, I'm a tiny human, and I feel like I feel like I'm in the bike, I don't feel like I'm perched on top of it. So for me, like, it's giving me the confidence to ride harder, take the lines that I want to take, and I fit, and it's great.
There we go. So
yeah.
no complaints out
No
there.
complaints.
She's not the tallest human on the face of the planet, but she manhandles that Slash 29er. Thomas Ashcroft is asking, how much harder is Enduro to downhill? That's probably a good one for you, Remi.
Well, they're totally different sports. The Enduro, I think, can potentially be harder physically. It's a longer day, but it just doesn't have the same stress that downhill has. you know, a downhiller, you're looking for the milliseconds everywhere on the course all weekend. It's your focus on one track. And yeah, that takes a real toll on your mind and on your body, just to be always just one focus the whole weekend. And enduro, the stress levels they're just not quite as high. You're still out there with your buddies in the woods. The first stage, sometimes you get a little nervous, but once you're in it, it's kind of just, you're out there riding and you're trying to go as fast as you can. But if you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. There's many stages left to go. So yeah, it's a totally different sport. They have a lot of similar qualities to them, but I don't think we can say one is harder than the other. One's harder in one way and the other's much harder in another.
If you're looking to be, you know, a casual racer for the pure enjoyment aspect of it, I can only imagine a weekend out racing enduro, you're going to get a whole lot more time on your bike than racing downhill. And something that goes along with that is, you know, fitness. One user is asking about forearm strength, classic arm pump. Frank from YouTube asks, what do you guys do to train for forearm strength?
Get 29er and Fox Forks. No arm pump over here.
We used to race motorcycles, and so I always grew up around this strange little device around the house called a Dynabeat. You guys use those?
Yeah.
You spin the thing, you got to keep the gyroscopic force ripping.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I don't use one personally, but just riding, you know, over many years definitely builds your forearm strength, and then everything in the gym, just picking things up and you know, making sure that
just pick those
just
things
pick
up.
them up,
Around Whistler
just
Village,
pick them up,
like,
and
oh,
put
this
them
looks
down.
good. Oh, sorry, I was trying to train my forearm strength. Well, there's nothing like that first run of the summer down the Fitzsimmons chair, and your hands are completely useless. Even top-level racers, do you guys experience the claw where you have to peel your fingers off of the grip?
Yeah, you do that.
I never experienced arm pump so bad as in stage 1, top of the world to ride on slide. It was terrible. I thought my hands were going to blow off the bars on many occasions. So.
I feel like you're going to be psyched to hear that, because you just feel so useless when your hands stop responding to the signals coming from your brain. But it happens to you guys too.
Yeah,
and is it
absolutely.
Just time on the bike to remedy that?
Yeah, I think on a run like that, you can't avoid it. I think if you ask anyone who raced on Sunday, they'll tell you they got arm pump down that stage.
You're looking down the trail and you're like, I know how I want to ride it, but this thing is just not like if it's on, it's stuck on. If it's off, it's stuck off. So brutal. So Alistair Ronaldson from YouTube is asking, do you think the Enduro World Series has been successful in capturing the soul of what most MTB riders experience? What is the soul of mountain biking to you? Katie, you want to take that first?
Wow, that's deep.
Oh,
We're going in deep, Alistair. I think it's so hard for them to capture what we're really experiencing. Like, there's so many different riders and we're all going through our own little thing. But I think it's really just the hardship that sometimes doesn't come across. Like, we have had savage races this year. It's been so wet, so much mud.
Hey guys!
Oh my gosh,
Look
so
like
savage!
Sorry, I'm late.
Look at this savage.
Okay. How are you guys?
Did you just finish a ride or a stage or a Minions convention? Where are you coming from?
I finished the race yesterday, and the day
been riding
before,
since.
and I'm training for Finale Ligure in a month. So yeah, I'm keeping the fitness.
And your potassium levels are high.
The what?
Potassium levels. You've got 2 bananas strapped to your head.
Yeah, I can.
Tell me about the bananas.
The banana is really important. Like you can ride, and then you know that's all we.
They're good for eating. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
good
what
for
I
you.
do with it too.
That's what we get when we're at the fish station. we just get banana. You want a piece?
Yeah, I'll have a banana.
Okay.
I'll have the stupid banana.
Oh yeah. Now I'm here. Good.
That's the best banana I've had all day. So Katie was answering the question
Okay.
from Alistair Ronaldson, wondering if EWS has captured the soul of what most MTB riders experience.
I think you've just captured the soul right now.
Thank you for bombarding, because you are the soul of mountain biking right here. You
Yeah.
finished racing. I feel like you've been at the Longhorn drinking beers for 48 hours, and you're just trying to balance out what your body's going through with enough potassium
You
to kill an
need to
ape.
carry everything with you. Like you need the
Need 2
So-
bladders.
This is Yoann Barelli, for those of you out there who don't
my God.
recognize him through the goggles and the bananas. But let's play a game called What's in Yoann's pocket?
Ah, there we go. So I've got a tube, because you need a tube, like if you get a flat at the top of a stage.
Or you want to make a slingshot?
You need like a chili pump, like this never works basically.
What kind of? Yep. Okay.
And then you need a CO2 thing.
Unless you're getting on the airplane, then you got to take it out.
Exactly. And then in there you need a multi-tool. That's really important, with a chain breaker.
I feel like you're a gigantic human pinata. I just want to hit you with a bat and see what kind of prizes you need.
You need some lube.
Like some of this stuff is very questionable. The pump, the lube, like this thing.
The lube. Ask Katy. What do you think about the lube?
Are we going to ask that mildly inappropriate question because it seems like the right time?
Okay.
No, we're not going to ask that. Nope. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't do that on the internet.
You need some
Or
plugs.
this internet, anyways.
You need some plugs as well. You know
Wow, that looks super dangerous.
That's very cool.
Okay,
Dino
I
plug.
come from a bicycling background where we don't use this, so can you please explain to me what in the world that thing is?
So you make a hole in your tire, and then you basically you plug it.
Isn't the object not to put a hole in your tire?
Yeah, but if
Oh, the hole happens on accident.
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't make the hole.
Yes, and this is for tubeless. If you don't have a tube,
This
then
is
you-
for tubeless,
you've
and
got a
if
huge hole in your
it doesn't
tire.
work, if this doesn't work, you put the tube in.
Perfect.
And
Well,
if it, like when you put the tube, because you are racing, you need to put the CO2, and because the CO2 is kind of doesn't really work sometimes, you need to have the pump. So you need to carry everything with you.
there's so much
If you
going on.
can carry an air compressor, you just take it. You
And
need to take some tire
There's
levers.
still more in this fanny pack.
You need to take some tire levers.
It's like watching clowns come out of a Volkswagen.
With some tape around, because you never know what can happen.
You can use the tape for anything, right?
You need 2 tire levers. You can use the tape for anything. To strap the bananas and stuff. And I think that, and yeah, a bar. I can't show the brand because I'm.
We all know. We all know.
And basically that's it.
Oh, top YouTube question apparently is a zinger. Thomas Hill wants to know, do you need to ride with a pack? I feel like you're going to be one who's going to really support the use of a pack because you have 3 on right now. I don't
Well-
even think we have enough time in this broadcast window to do what's in
So, but-
Remi's fanny pack,
So the pack is
fanny pack B, and
the
backpack.
pack is great when you race some stuff like the Andes Pacifico or the Transparence, because you can carry your pack and your helmet and put a jacket and some food in there. But you don't really need that when you race EWS. So people like this kind of stuff. I actually don't, because you look like a.
Yeah,
like,
it's
Like
good
you.
that it's good that like having the cold water in there keeps you cool, because that's about the only cool thing about
yeah.
it, probably.
And this is actually what I like the most, because it's kind of flat, and you put it under your jersey like that,
There you go.
and you don't see it.
No, you don't. And if you fall down, it probably supports you a little bit. Okay, so this is on one extreme. He obviously loves strapping things to himself and having multiple bags.
And now it's time to get
Your
in the
thoughts,
second
Katy
banana.
and Remi, on all this nonsense that he has strapped to him.
Yeah.
Do you guys do that?
I actually don't ride with a pack. I put things in my bib, so I try and keep it as minimal as I can. And what do you think, Katy?
Well, I'm tiny.
You're
When
tiny.
I am tiny. So when I wear
Yeah, that's my water.
when I wear a backpack, it's real heavy and massive on my back and it kind of throws me around.
It's hard to ride
Like,
with it all
yeah,
wobbling around.
Yeah, and usually backpacks are too big, so they just like throw you about. So I like having things. I've got bibs with pockets in them. I like stuffing stuff in there. Keeps all the weight around your hips and stuff, which makes it easier to like throw your bike around and stuff. And yeah. I
That
think
one
it's
up tool in
definitely
your
better.
steer tube, we got to show Yoann that, because he may be able to drop one pack.
Do they see us?
Yeah, I think so. He's going to pull it out. It comes right out of your steer tube there. It's got everything you need. Well, maybe not everything that Yoann needs, but everything that normal people may need. All right, let's look for another question here.
Amazing.
All right, Pinkbike. This is cool because Crankworks is such a long festival. You guys have your race at the beginning of the week. And the Ed J asks, how do you make the most of your downtime? Let's maybe specifically in Whistler here throughout the rest of the festival.
This is like the annual going out week. 'Cause
Yeah, it's
you
true.
get all your friends are here. You get to socialize and
So
just
Katy
have a nice time.
basically party all the time, every night. So she's drunk right now, but we don't.
No, I'm
you
not.
can't really
I'm a
see,
professional.
You can't really tell, but
If we had to take a poll of who is intoxicated right now, I don't think Katy would win at the moment. But that is the greatest thing about Crankworks, right? I mean, you come here to race, but you also see friends from all over the world. How many years have you personally been coming to this festival?
4, I think.
Yeah.
3 or 4. Yeah, it's amazing. I
So
love
you
it.
make sure to balance out the racing and the serious stuff with a little bit of social.
Yeah, because I think the thing is, when you're racing all year, this is like your family, the circus you go around with, and so like to have a nice time with them when you're not racing is really valuable, because you go through so much together when you're racing and everything. So it's definitely mint to just get to spend some time just
Blow a
chilling
little
out.
steam. It's nice that you guys have the most time during the festival after the event too. You don't have to. I know the slopestyle riders, and I used to do it, and you're here for 9 days. You're just constantly thinking and looking at that and practicing. You're like, oh god, and then it's not until the end, so you never really get to enjoy it. So I think it's cool that you guys get some time to get out there. And
Yeah.
so Remi and Yoann, for that matter, you guys living here, the circus shows up during Crankworks. Tell me about how this town absolutely transforms from the normal, like some people only come here during Crankworks, so this is all they know. What's it like outside of this crazy 10-day window?
Yeah, it gets pretty crazy here during Crankworks, but you know, I can get away from it. I can go back to Squamish, go home, and you know, reset a little bit. But it's awesome that everyone's coming here and enjoying themselves, and it's the biggest mountain bike festivals in our hometown.
Yeah,
so
true.
it's great. Yeah.
No,
How long
it's
have you
good.
been living here?
3 years now. 3 years now, and the best time really is when Crankworks is done. It becomes quiet, and the trails are good. It starts to rain a little bit, and there is moisture everywhere, and it's the forest turns beautiful. No, it's great.
Fall here, the trails, once it starts raining a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
The
Last-
riding in the wet is
What's
Well,
Okay,
and Remi is
okay.
leaving.
I guess
Dude,
I gotta
Remi.
go. I got an appointment. So
Cool, thank you so much,
You're
dude.
done.
It's been good chatting with you. Good job in the race this week.
Yeah.
We'll
Thanks,
see you
Cam.
around, dude. Good to see
See
you.
ya, Pinkbike.
Oh, finger on the ass. Come here.
Jesse, how's it going?
Put me in.
Jesse Melamed, Pinkbike. Congratulations on a huge win. It was your first win on the EWS. It happened in front of your hometown crowd. That had to have been a highlight of your career, right?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll look back on this for years and think that it was a great day, and I think I'm still kind of coming down from it.
I'll bet.
But
man.
no, I'm pumped. It was really cool.
And this little no-namer sitting there in second place, Sam Hill.
Yeah.
Did you know he was breathing down your neck? Do you guys get updates
Oh, yeah.
between stages?
I like to know, and it was actually really funny. I thought I had a good run on stage 1, which I think I was second still, but I didn't know his time yet. And then I got to the top of stage 2, and I was like, "Oh, how'd you do?" He's like, "Good." And I was like, "Oh, you win." He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, how much did you beat me by? He's like, "A little bit." And he
17
didn't want to tell me.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like, does
Poker face.
anyone know? And Greg was like, yeah, 17 seconds. I was like, okay, sweet.
So that's how today's gonna be all right.
So like I needed to know that
Crank it
because
up.
then, oh yeah, I was gonna like maybe go like 98%, but then I was right back to 110. Just I had to.
Man, he
Yeah.
should have just told you I had you by 2 seconds.
Yeah. Well, he said it just a little bit.
Yeah.
17 seconds is not a little bit.
No.
Yeah, but you got him by 15 seconds on the second stage.
Yeah, I had to. Yeah.
Wow, that's the 110% aspect.
It was insane.
When I'm watching World Cup downhill, I'm always wishing that the rider on course had a little
Like some-
speaker.
yeah,
Yeah,
split time.
okay. You're up by 1.2, so they could strategize. It's pretty cool that you guys get that information between stages, but it's such a long day of racing. Do you sometimes strategize differently from stage to stage, or do you just flip it on and go, all right, it's got to be 110 the whole time?
Sometimes I think definitely the length of the stage plays a factor. So sometimes we have short stages that are basically just a DH stage, and you have to be like so intense, and it is like a DH stage. You're just perfect everywhere, and like Remi was saying, like milliseconds, you have to just, there's not much in it, so you're not going to be winning by a major margin. But for stage 1 there, or like, you know, somewhere like La Tuile, really long descents, you kind of really just ease into it. You have to play a kind of a long game, and it's crazy how close we all end up still on like a 20-minute stage. It's just, it's pretty cool, yeah.
So this one is probably, in retrospect, going to be your favorite event of the entire year
Yeah.
because you had your first big win. But beside this one, what venue do you enjoy the most on the entire EWS?
It's got Finale, the last one. It's the last race of the season. We're all having a good time, and the place, yeah, it's a beach. There's gelato. There's
La Tuile is great as
the
well.
Tuile is good. Yeah, for riding, yeah.
Yeah, when we race in the Alps, it's always good. We take the chairlift up, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's nice.
Pedaling sometimes is kind of.
Javier Toledo 99 is asking, why are a lot of UCI DH racers switching to Enduro?
A lot, I don't know.
I don't know.
Some switch.
A lot of guys are trying, though.
Yeah, a lot of guys trying.
I think for them it's good training, and I mean we all like to ride bikes, and it's just, you know, I know a lot of the guys say that it's just really fun to go to new places and ride new trails. They just show, you basically go to a place and they show you the best trails that they have.
It's got to be a blast.
Yeah, and they guide you through it. It's just that's the route of the race.
It's cool because it's exactly what you would like to do if you're traveling for mountain biking to these amazing destinations. If you're doing slopestyle, you show up with a teeny tiny little bike and you get invitations to go ride these trails, but you just don't have the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
And then World Cup downhill, obviously they got to be focused on every section, the milliseconds like you guys were mentioning before. So Enduro, it's got to be the best discipline to actually be able to go experience those locations.
Yeah, exactly.
And did you come from downhill racing?
No, I was from cross country.
Cool. Yeah, there you go. So we've been balancing.
We did it.
I come, from downhill. Yeah. Downhill. I'm gonna change my outfit. I need to put some proper stuff on.
Okay, good. Maybe something that smells a little bit better this time. Thank you.
We should be wearing.
S. Webster from Pinkbike asks, what do you find is the best way to speed up muscle recovery after a hard ride? You guys both finished fantastic 2 days ago. You've probably been spending the last 48 hours recovering. What are your methods?
You don't want to know the methods after this race.
Whistler is different. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe not Whistler. How would you normally recover?
Maybe after Aspen. What did you do?
After Aspen, I took lots of days off.
Days off, yeah. Lots of resting.
Lots of resting. It's a surprising amount of rest, really, because we do so much. Like with practice and racing, you're doing usually four big days in a row, and it takes a lot out of you. And you gotta pretty much take a day off, and you can do active rest, but you definitely have to have a period of just, you know, on the couch, kind of put your feet up and do whatever you want to do for your hobby. And then nutrition too, like you gotta fuel yourself and hydrate.
But for muscles, like I usually do sort of like a contrast shower, so I'll do like hot and cold to try and like flush my legs out and my arms and everything, just to kind of get the blood pumping around and try and get them to fix themselves quickly.
Fix yourself quickly.
Fix
you have
yourself.
Race coming up.
Yeah, come on, you're going to do this tomorrow.
So this being a relatively young discipline, I guess the concept hasn't really been proven yet, and it's all speculation, but what do you think is the longevity term for a professional EWS racer? You think typically going to be seeing careers carry on late 30s, early 40s? What do you guys think?
I hope so.
Looks like it. I mean, the cool thing about Enduro is that there's no kind of there's tall people, there's short people, there's big people, small people, old, young, anyone can win a race. Like it's.
Oh no! I thought it was bad before. What is happening? Do we have security? Has anybody been screening the people coming?
Enduro is all about aerodynamic, you know.
Yeah. Like, don't you have to have like pinch an inch? Isn't that a rule?
Yeah. So you kind of.
Oh my!
Dude, that's
I thought you were just gonna pull them down.
But hey, I have my Loic Bruni underwear. Super Bruni. Super Bruni.
You got a signature underwear.
Yeah.
That's legit. I want to like looking past the absurdity on your body right now. There's a badass scar on your right hip.
Past that.
What is that from? That's sick. That's a gnarly scar.
Yeah?
That's a tattoo, but isn't that a gnarly scar?
That's from New Zealand this year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I do.
You get nice little mementos from each EWS stop.
Yeah. But yeah.
A lot of users always ask us about injuries. What are some of the worst injuries you guys have had?
Well, I never broke anything, so
nice
I touch
on something, that's a nice
I touch wood, but
touch wood.
I knock on wood.
You had your wood right in our face a minute ago.
But I don't know why they took the worst English speaker in all the thing. I'm really bad.
You're fantastic.
But anyways, in New Zealand I really hit my hip, and it went like the size of a football thing.
Big old hematoma.
Huge.
Did you have to get it drained?
No, they didn't want to. They said, they basically told me at the hospital, if we drain it, we're gonna have to put you on a steroid. And I was like, holy fuck, that's a really bad idea
I'm not gonna
to
pass
put me
tests, put on a steroid.
No, but just imagine me on steroids.
Oh my god.
You are, yeah, look at him.
Let's go ride!
I'm so glad you're here, Yoann. But if you're gonna get hurt anywhere, New Zealand is a spot, man. Like,
Everything is free.
oh, it's insane.
Everything. You show up to the hospital. You show up to the hospital. You sign a waiver. Boom. They do everything. It's free. You leave. Okay. Good. You crash in Whistler.
Katy, Pinkbike user asking, a Pinkbike user, Westfife155 is asking, are you racing Tweed Love next weekend?
And I'm not this year.
Oh no.
That must be at home at your local trails.
Yes, it is.
She forgot
yeah.
all the names of her local trails.
Yeah. I remember where I live though. Yeah, no, I'm not going to be back for that. I'm staying and watching the Joyride for the first time ever.
Yeah, do actually.
Heck yeah. So you're going to stick around the whole time? Nice. So that race is going on at the same time as Joyride?
Yeah, it's this weekend.
And it's probably all the way in Scotland?
All the way in Scotland. Last year I did it. I flew home on Friday and then practiced Saturday, race Sunday, and then got really ill.
Oh, yeah. So
it was a great race though, because we've been racing in the dry all year, and I went home and it was really wet, and I was just like riding down. And I was like, man, it's good to be home, just riding stuff I understand. This wet trail.
Yeah. Back to what you're comfortable with. So that's cool that you're gonna be able to hang out and watch Joyride. It's probably less relatable discipline to a bunch of our audience, but it is a big spectacle. So what is drawing you toward wanting to stick around and watch that?
Just the experience, I think. Just actually to be there and see what they're doing, because on camera it looks impressive, but when you're standing beside that and just like see how massive it is, like just jumping those jumps is cool. Never mind like doing twirling, all of the dancing that you do in the air.
They call it twirling.
Just
go for a twirling.
Hey, there's a lot of twirling these days in slopes out. I mean, there's 1080s. They're every which direction. So I'm excited to hear that you guys are excited to hang out and take that all in.
Great.
Jack Aldred from YouTube wondering, typical breakfast on the morning of the race.
A banana?
Of course. Breakfast?
Yeah, banana in some oatmeal.
Yeah. Peanut butter?
With peanut butter?
No peanut butter?
Mine keeps changing. Yeah.
You gotta mix it up.
Yeah, otherwise it just gets boring. I do oatmeal too with like fruit stuff in it, but then I've been making like pancakes like with eggs and stuff in them to try and get some protein in there, and then usually some scrambled eggs too.
I just have a smoothie in the morning. I put 2 bananas, apple, avocado, some dates, a bunch of stuff in there, frozen fruit, almond milk, blah.
But you're from France.
There you go.
You just ate a croissant with some jam, and just that was it. That
When
was all day.
bread, cheese and meat. But when I moved here, Katrina was like, "You're gonna stop that shit."
No.
Smoothie in the morning, and it works. It's good.
In Europe, they got really good quality food, so
True.
it's not as fattening. But here, it's can't do too much of that.
No.
Your body's a temple.
Yeah.
And I feel like since you're racing for so many hours on end, how does it work? Do you guys have time in between stages, or do you have your mechanics holding on to pre-prepared food for you?
If we're allowed to, if we get a check our feed zone, we can have food stored in there. But mostly, we bring it with. Yeah,
We have a cook
personal
with us.
chef.
Catering, craft services.
Some teams are higher budget than others, and
Yeah, they're doing well here.
I know the most bonked I've ever been was on a 12-hour road ride where it's just 2 of us switching off, and by the end of the day, completely dark, rotting, and my brain started picturing all these weird foods that I don't normally eat, but it just knew what it needed. It was craving Lucky Charms and whole milk. What food is just stuck in your head at the end of the last stage during a long enduro?
A beer.
A beer, nice.
A beer.
Nice. Celebratory fluids.
It's probably not good for the recovery, but it's good for the mind.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
True.
a good fresh beer.
I like burgers. I love a good burger. Yeah, I might go for one after this.
I was thinking that. Oh yeah, I could eat one
Favorite
of
burger
them.
place in Whistler?
Splits.
Splits, yeah.
Or Mile 1 in Pemberton.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's not Whistler,
god.
Yeah.
Mile 1 in Pemberton is the best food ever.
What do you find yourself craving at the end of the last stage?
If you've done it right, you're not usually craving anything.
That's good.
but
Good
when I get to
answer.
the bottom, I just don't want to eat anything. It's really weird. I think my body just is like,
I think
that
you're
isn't
forcing
enough.
yourself to eat all day,
Yeah,
though.
you are, because
And
you're
you're
like,
not always eating the best food, you're eating the easiest food, and you're kind of just like sick of it. And
yeah, you're just like, you know you need to eat after every stage, and you're breathing hard still, and you're trying to get up the climb. Sometimes you're pushing your bike, the coordination that's involved. It sounds ridiculous, like trying to eat food,
Yeah.
push up a hill, like, it's quite intense. And you're
And
just
breathe.
like, and breathe, you're just trying to get it in your mouth.
So this is cool. This doesn't have to be specific to mountain biking, but we've got a Pinkbike user. What accomplishment in life, not limited to mountain biking, are you most proud of? Katie, we'll start with you.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
That is a really good one. I think just being able to do what I do and ride around the world on my bike makes me really happy. And I think to be able to do what you're passionate about and do what makes you happy is my biggest accomplishment.
Good answers. Fair enough. Makes a lot of sense.
it would have to be school. I finished an engineering degree last summer, or last spring. And so I'm pretty proud that I accomplished that while racing full time.
You can do this for as long as you can / want, and then you have something.
Plan B.
Yeah, that's great. And did you go into like engineering within the bike world?
Of course, yeah.
So that's what caused you to choose that major? Was
Kind of, well, a little bit. I think at the time I wasn't kind of racing professionally when I started school, and then halfway through it was just kind of going well, so I just kept it going and finished it, and now we'll see.
It's going really well right now. So
Yeah.
Congrats on both of those things. Yoann?
Well, I think it's like 4 years ago. I was working in a bike shop. I was just like selling stuff, and then I was just on the edge to be. I was good, but not good enough to pass pro. And then at some point, I was like, you know what? Screw that. I'm gonna quit my job, put all the chances on my side to become pro, and then I raced the full Enduro series season. And at the end of the year, I signed my first professional contract with Giant. So yeah, that's my best. Yeah, I'm proud of that. It's
It takes
cool.
a lot of guts too. You're sitting there, you got some stability, you're working, but you probably maybe weren't completely satisfied. So no regrets, I'd imagine.
No regrets at all. And if you come from not from a rich family, sometimes it's really hard to do this kind of to make this kind of decision. But yeah, I was like, you know, just do it. So if you have a dream, like if you believe in some stuff, just go for it. It's
No
your
risk,
thing.
no reward.
Exactly.
Hear it from the man himself right there. It's pretty cool. All right, Mitch Gulliver asks for Jesse.
Woo!
There are a lot of trails on the west side of Whistler. 2 of them were stages 2 and 3. Were those some of your favorite trails?
Stage 2 is probably one of the best trails that has been built recently. I think it was just such a cool route finding trail, and Dan did a great job on that. To race it though is very frustrating. It is, if you've never ridden it, Rockwick Orange and all those trails are so tight that you just
Rockwick Orange, that's the name of the trail.
Rockwick Orange, Cover,
That's
Milk
brilliant.
Bar, and Wizard Burial Ground. Yeah, so kind of the trilogy.
Trail building is something that, you know, is one of the most important parts of mountain biking, but naming the trails,
It's huge.
they kill it
Yeah.
on that front
Yeah.
too, like Rockwick Orange, come
Yeah.
on.
But-
Favorite trail name you've ever heard of?
We've got one at home that's Boner. That's a good
Boner?
one.
We have
Yep.
Golden Boner.
Golden Boner.
You've
yeah.
got Golden
Yeah,
Boner. You just
Golden
won up
Boner.
to us.
Yeah, sorry.
What else do we have?
Lord of the Squirrels. I like that name just because
Yeah.
of the story behind it too. And yeah.
We
Up,
got-
up and away is good.
Yeah.
Like he's fucking far and
So I like that the sign on the new trail here. It may not be new, but it's called Seymour, and somebody goes up there with a little pen and puts butts on there. So Seymour butts. I think Crack Addict has changed now, right? Maybe they couldn't, you know, the trail Crack Addict up there.
Yeah.
I think it's called Pulp Fiction now. Or
Yeah, they
something.
redid the whole thing. I haven't ridden it yet, but
Okay, yeah.
apparently it's sweet.
Trail names. All right. Any more questions here, people? We've got. Okay. For Yoann, can you ride a cyclocross bike down ride, don't slide? Oh yeah, you do
Yeah.
those crazy videos.
Yeah.
but
the
Commensal don't make any cross bike.
Well, we're gonna have
Some
to have a word
kinda-
with them.
Yeah.
I
So,
thought I saw Max here. Isn't he here?
Nico Menard is the engineer, so I'm here now. I'm talking to you.
Yeah,
Let's
we
make
got-
one.
we got video.
But could I do that?
Oh, we have a clip of you actually riding cyclocross bike.
Okay.
If you haven't seen it before, he does some amazing things on a bike that maybe shouldn't do amazing things.
Well, I just ride the bike park with it. But ride on slide, it wouldn't be fun. Like it would be really rough.
Yeah.
I don't
So
think the bike park is
No.
fun on a cross bike.
It is actually. Everything is kind of smooth, so you land and it's perfect. Like it's
On day
it's like-
one, yeah.
on day one, not during crankworks.
Yeah.
They're working on getting that clip.
Oh, yeah.
It's gonna be worth the wait. Here we go. Okay. Hey, we're back on.
We are back online.
So what's the hardest part about riding that bike? I would imagine the drop bars.
But you can, I cheat a little bit.
Yeah.
I put the drop bar, I can, how do you say?
Roll it.
I roll it a little bit forward, so I can ride it like that.
You can get to the brakes.
I can get to the brakes, but it's really like it's painful. I got blisters when I do that. So it's
bad.
after one run, but it's yeah, it's just goofing around.
Did you see
Nothing
this
crazy.
video of Simon Godziak, the slopestyle rider out of Poland, backflipping
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
peloton in a Polish
Oh,
rotor?
yeah.
That was
On a
sick,
road
right?
That was
bike,
sick.
yeah.
Oh man,
That was
just like
sick.
Dave Watson, you know, that was legendary when he did it way back when, early 2000s, jumped over the peloton, the Tour de France on a downhill bike,
Yeah.
completely ragdolled, got back up, talked to the cops, and it was pretty cool to see Simon, you know, giving a nod to Dave's stunt, which still stands up today, but doing it on the road bike too, which I never
On
thought
the
of.
road bike
Yeah.
with spandex and everything, like dressed as a road biker. It was sick.
Yeah, that was way cool.
That was next level.
All right, Katy. Yaroslav Alpazar asks, you and Isabeau are tied in the series. Are you doing something different for finale to try and grab second overall?
Ooh, but that's a secret, isn't it? 'Cause,
Oh, come on.
Can't divulge.
It's
Well,
alright.
I was ill for this race, so the first things first, I'm not going to be ill for finale.
That's right.
And yep, I'm just going to ride really fast.
Just gonna send it.
Send it
Charge. So
everywhere.
that's the key. In any discipline, send it.
Send it.
Right?
And don't be sick.
And don't be
Don't
sick.
be- yeah.
That
Be
part you
well,
can't really choose.
Send it.
Ideal.
But
Okay,
it's not.
cool.
It's not only about sending it the day of the race.
No, it's the whole.
Like for some people, like for me, for example, if I, for example, do one run on each stages, and then the day of the race I just show up like that, sending it is not gonna work. Like I'm gonna be 20 or 30.
Make
Like for me,
mistakes.
there is a lot of like track walk and taking pictures and taking notes and watching GoPros. There is a lot of stuff before the race that I have to do to be now in the top 10.
So much to cram into your head. Is it hard to sleep before the race, the nights leading up?
A little bit, eh?
This
Because
week,
we have
yeah.
we have the stress, and basically Crankworks for us is like the world champ, really.
Yeah.
Like everybody wants to do well, yeah.
And you do have all the tracks kind of in your mind, and
Yeah.
you're kind of going to sleep, and they're just playing. You're not really meaning to. Sometimes you will run through them, but I just find I'm just like, oh, I'm in that section of trail now, and then
Yeah.
what about
Yeah,
that
yeah.
section?
It's
And then what's after that
autopilot
one?
in your
And yeah.
That's so sick. You probably are to the point where, especially the trails around here, you could probably see in your mind's eye certain rocks and just
Oh, yeah.
absolutely visualize.
Yeah, a few of them for sure.
That's got to be a big part of enduro. It's just that's a skill.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, controlling the bike is one thing, but being able to visualize has got to
Well,
be.
and I think there's also a skill in just riding really fast after one practice lap.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, DH
Like,
is
really
so
fast.
different in that they get almost as many laps as they want, I guess. So you're pretty much perfect. Enduro's like, tracks change too. That's huge, especially here. There's lines that I've never seen before because you know I ride them my whole life, and then they're just kind of braided, and there's all these
Yeah,
cut
yeah.
lines, and you have to really react quickly and actually make a decision if that's a faster line or not. Because some people could take it thinking it's faster, and then
Yeah.
it's not, and you're kind of just stuck.
Yeah.
So, and
Angry
then-
pirates like that right now. You're coming down, you see all these new little lines that people have done, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to stop and look at that, but I'm already this way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
It's
you
gotta be
really have
crazy.
to react quickly and be on your feet. Yeah. So it's that's what I love about it. I just love riding on instinct.
That's
really-
it. It's just
really cool.
instinct. You're just
Yeah.
making it happen as it
Yeah.
comes out.
And
you.
just so much exciting stuff happens, I feel like, in a race. And you get to the bottom and you're just so happy. You're probably making mistakes, blowing corners, be like, man, that was wild.
I feel like that's the biggest point. We were trying to come up with an answer. They were asking if enduro racing as a format has captured like the spirit of mountain biking, and I think you guys just hit it right there. Is just not really knowing what's coming up next,
Yeah.
and that the joy of the unpredictable.
And sharing it with others. Like, you get to the
Yeah.
bottom,
Yeah,
we're all there,
sure.
and like, once we recover from the stage, we were all stoked and talking about it, and you just ask, like, oh, how was it? Like, oh, I got so loose, you know, that rock, and
And
I
there
really
is
died.
different formats. You have the EWS format with like some practice and everything, and you can do the Andes Pacifico and Trans-Provence and this type of racing where it's blind.
Oh my
Just racing blind,
Yeah.
and that's You finish a stage, and that's the best feeling ever.
Sometimes the
Because-
best feeling isn't the fastest run you could possibly do on the track. It's just like getting into those situations where you lose it, then you catch it.
Yeah,
and-
exactly.
yeah.
No,
You're like
that's the
out
whole
of
thing.
control, and you just react, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh wow, that was sketchy, and
Yeah.
you still make it, and that's great.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
those-
That's
those are my
basically
favorite.
what we
Yeah.
experience all the time.
All the time. Yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
So
Especially.
we had,
yeah.
I love it when you know the fact that you guys are gonna hang out and watch the slopestyle. I love the fact that this Pinkbike username Slopestyle Drew is interested in what PSI you guys run, because for slopestyle, and I'm assuming with his username Slopestyle Drew, that's probably what he likes to do. They run 65. It's just rock hard. It's, you know, if you're three in and that thing is rolling at all, it's gonna throw you off. So for enduro racing, I'm sure it varies. What PSI do you guys run your tires?
I think it depends of the tires.
Yeah.
And like last year I was riding with Schwalbe, and I could ride with 21 psi at the front and 22, 23 at the back without having any trouble, without flatting, without anything. Now I need to ride a little bit higher with 23, 24 at the front and 26, 27 at the rear.
Still so low. If you're
But it's-
Slopestyle Drew, he's probably just going, wow.
But that's
Slopestyle Drew, they're running
uh,
tires with very
That's
thick
still quite
sidewalls.
soft though, because that's like what I run, and I'm like,
and you are lighter than me. But you
Yep.
also have a 29er and
Yeah, it matters about the volume too. Like
Yeah.
we run pretty high volume tires. So I run like 2.5 Maxxis, and I run 20 psi
yeah.
front and back.
100% tubeless though.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna have an issue and your plugs don't work, and you're gonna throw a tube in there, are you gonna increase?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean at that point you kind of lost some time on a flat, so you're just gonna try to make it through.
Yeah.
So performances, but I just like lower pressure. I think it just kind of absorbs things and takes the sting out of it. And
Right, well, let's see. There's another question. Pinkbike leads on from that one. Fantastic. Okay, cool. Do any of you guys run the foam inserts? That's a new thing that a lot of people are jumping on.
I've got the FTD flat tire defend in my. I've been running all year actually in the rear because I like to smash that thing.
Because it's through here.
So I've been running that all year. It makes it a little bit heavier, but that's back to what we were talking about before. If you're running a little bit heavier, you're just trying to protect your race. You don't
Good
you
trade-off.
don't want a puncture. So.
I went full cush core front and back for this race just to minimize any problems. I went heavy tires, heavy wheels, foam inserts. I was just not getting a problem this weekend.
Yeah, it worked out.
And
Kushmore, I
it's
think,
heavy
from Bend,
though.
Oregon too, aren't they?
I'm not sure, but you know those are 250 grams a piece, so they're super.
250 grams?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not light. And so your wheels are getting. My bike is so heavy. It's like a DH bike now.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you can get it through it, like I feel like we're kind of fit enough to kind of pedal that stuff. So I have no problem running that if I'm not going to get a flat or break a wheel. So you can ruin a season and ruin a race.
It's the balance, but it's probably worth it. The amount of time you're going to lose fixing that flat. How
Yeah.
about you?
I ride with the Knorri staff at the rear, and well, same thing. It's just to protect the rim.
That
Because
could
when
be a
you
trail name. That's cool. Huck Norris.
Huck Norris, Huck Norris.
Love it.
It's great. Like it works perfectly, and it's 45 gram.
That one's only 45. I thought it was 90.
45.
Yeah,
For-
oh, they're
the
gonna start
set.
comparing notes now.
Oh yeah.
The set
So
is
there
90.
you have it. 100%. All of our riders here on the couch at the moment running some sort of insert.
Yeah.
I'm sure
I know
most people
love.
are.
I think so.
Okay, carbon rims, aluminum rims. What are you guys running right now?
Aluminium.
Yeah.
Aluminum.
I do both. I was forced onto aluminum for this race because my mechanic promised me that I was going to have no problems.
Yeah.
So I let him, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think carbon wheels is just too risky. Too risky.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
crack that, you get a 5-minute penalty because you need to replace a wheel. Whereas if you like dent a rim or whatever, there's ways that you can kind of make that last. Like if it's a 2-day race,
Yeah.
dent on the first day, you can kind of make it last the next. But if you crack a carbon rim, the race is done.
So I guess that's something that I wasn't aware of. Is your bike has to be the same bike with the same parts on it from stage one all the way through.
Yeah.
That's
You can
super
swap
rad.
some parts, but you
Yeah,
can't
you
swap
can change the
frame,
tires.
fork, wheels. Yeah. So you could swap a shock if
fork
you
wheels.
wanted, or like chain rings. Sometimes, I know in the past people have swapped chain rings for Whistler because we used to race that
Yeah.
really long top of the world stage, and they went up a chain ring size just because it's bike park and it's fast.
Yeah.
So you can do little stuff like that, but mostly I think it's about to even the field with kind of, you know, our factory level support and a more privateer guy.
That's
that,
cool.
That we can't just, you know, swapping wheels in the tech zone or like anything, you know, stage to stage. And when you, I think it kind of mimics when you go out for a ride with your friends is you're not going to be swapping tires or whatever throughout the day.
So that goes back to keeping the format as close to what mountain biking really is for the
Yeah.
weekend warrior as possible. That's
Yeah.
rad. Yeah. Top YouTube question. Here we go. This is for Jesse. We're wondering, can you beat Remi Gauvin's Pinkbike hot lap time on credit line in squad?
Who asked that question?
Of course he can.
Oh, Remi asked it.
Everybody can.
Oh.
Yeah, no,
Calling
I'm
you
sure
out.
he's got a real fast time on that. I'll give it a shot for sure.
Nice.
I'm keen to do it.
Me
Well,
too.
stay tuned. We're
Yeah.
gonna put it to the test.
Yeah. I'm gonna take that outside line though that you said Kooks take. So.
Remi ghost writing some questions. Well, what else do we have here, guys? So for Katy, is this another one from you, Jesse, or did they spell it Jissy? This is somebody else named Jissy. Okay, just trying to see if you're completely taking
Jissy from-
over.
I can't do
New
this.
Zealand.
So for Jesse and Katy, Jesse. For Jesse and Katy, as XC
yeah, you're
riders,
here.
how do you think Nino Schurter would do on the EWS circuit?
He's done it. He raced finale in
He raced finale.
first year, I thought, and same with the Cannondale team. And I think they took it easy because they weren't going to risk themselves. But I think the Cannondale guys were around 30th. They did okay.
I think so.
I think Nino, if he really tried, I'd be curious. I love watching cross country. I watch every race, and I would love to see him do it. So if he's watching this, yeah, please
Yeah.
come and race.
I think you could do really well.
Okay, Facebook question. Adam Middleton asked, what's your favorite mountain bike discipline to watch? That's a good question.
The downhill one.
Free ride.
Yeah, dude,
The
nice.
Rampage.
Nice, dude.
You can't pick one. They all have different, like the Rampage.
Yeah.
I went and watched it in person this year, last
did?
year, and yeah.
Yeah, me too.
And it
no
was
way,
so
really?
Yeah.
so cool.
I wanted to see in person.
It was the size,
That
like
was
what Katy said about the slope style here is I live here, so I've been watching slope style every year.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of used to that. Still not really, because you guys go massive. But the Rampage, like the things that they were dropping off of. Sometimes I hit drops and I'm like, oh yeah, that was good. And then I actually went and rode that King Kong trail when I was there.
Right.
And I was like, cool. But these guys are hitting things 10 times the size.
But King
It's
Kong
crazy.
is still legit. Like,
Yeah, it's
what an
cool.
amazing trail. Like, they did an Enduro. No, we're just trying to get in the wheels turned. They did an
I thought about
Enduro
it.
in Virgin, Hurricane, somewhere around there, and had King Kong
You
as a
could
stage.
watch
That would
every
be
stage just
insane.
down the line.
Oh
That
my
would be
god,
great.
come on. Let's do the Slope Duro Cross.
Slope
Free
Duro.
ride,
Yeah.
invitational.
But then
Ramp
I think downhill too. It's just that is nail biting, so exciting.
It's
And
like
it's just-
Formula One, man.
It is. Some of the races are just crazy, and then,
Yeah.
like I said, I watch all the XC races, and the last couple have been so good. There's so many fast guys that they're swapping positions, and I like it all. I love bikes.
You're a
Yeah.
mountain biker,
Anything.
man. It's all mountain
Watch it
biking.
all.
I'll take
Katy,
anything.
your favorite mountain bike discipline to watch?
I just love watching the downhill.
Yeah.
Like, just love that. It's just so good. Just watching the way they ride, and then the times are so tight, and you just don't know what's going to happen. Like, especially here, because when Monts and Amazon, we were all here, so we got up in the morning, we watched the downhill, and then we're just like, let's go
I know
ride.
you want to go ride
Yeah.
so
We're
bad.
actually like, why? Let's make it rain so we can be like Gwen and go and ride in the rain.
Yeah. And the quality of the coverage now, with the breakdown between split times, seeing who was, I mean, you can't beat it. They've done a great job. Yeah. But yeah, each discipline has their own strengths, and,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
if you're a mountain biker, you're going to enjoy watching them all. So I love it all too, man. Katy, Smobito is wondering, have you had a better... Smobito. Let's just stew on that for a minute. Smobito. That's almost as good as some of those trail names. Okay, Smobito. You ask, have you had a better coffee than #1 Peebles Road? Do you miss anything from home? Is that a coffee shop at home or
That's
something?
a really, like, that's the place to go. If you're ever in Peebles area in Erlethen, #1 is the place to go. Yeah. Have I had a better coffee than there? Nah, that's my jam there. New Zealand's pretty good for their flat whites.
Ooh.
But that, like, #1's the only place that's kind of been on a level with that.
Flat white has made its way over here to this continent too, just recently. You go to like a normal whatever chain coffee shop here and they have flat white. Like, thank you Kiwis for exporting that. This does not specify who it's for, but we can ask everybody. What age were you when you started riding, Katy?
Like 4 or 5 or something.
Now kids are starting riding like 2 or something
I
with
know.
run bikes.
Yeah,
Jeez,
ridiculous.
the future is bright.
Yep.
I think I was a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty young.
And I think I started to race when I was 7, 8. Well, in France, we have this type of racing where we do trial, downhill, and cross country the same day. So you can learn everything, and you grow up until I don't know, 15-year-old, and you're still doing this kind of racing, and then you pick up your sport. like you pick up if you want to race cross country or downhill or trials.
So that's the perfect
And
background for what you're doing right now.
It's so good because you can learn skills, you can learn everything, trials, how do you say, maniability? Like how you
Maneuverability. So I thought you
maneuverability.
said trails. You meant trials.
Trials. Trials.
No way. Yeah, the
So
bike
they-
you can get from that.
Yeah.
What a good thing to start as a kid. We had the Kids Works Beeline race yesterday.
Yeah.
And that was mind blowing because you're seeing kids at the youngest, they're 7 years old, and they're clearing jumps on Family Cross, racing all the way down Beeline. We actually had kids
That's
who were doing
amazing.
Supermans on the last jump.
No.
Yeah.
How old was he?
That kid was 12, but we had a 10-year-old doing knack-knacks and stuff. Like, the stuff the kids are able to do now, I think, because of the run bikes and everything. But it
Because
sounds like
they
you're
watch
bringing
they
it
watch you guys on TV and they're like, okay, that's easy.
It's a great thing. I
And
interviewed the kid who did the Superman afterward, and I just wanted to hear what he had to say. He said, well, when I was about ready to drop in, I was so nervous. I was thinking about that Superman on the last show. I'm like, you are going to be in Joyride eventually. I know it. Like, you have a mindset.
Sweet.
All
They are
right.
nuts.
Did you all enjoy appearing in the first ever Enduro Win TV?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you
was
just
great.
soaked it up. Right up your alley.
I haven't watched it yet, but I gotta see that.
It was good. It was a great one. Yeah. It's cool that Win does that. Like
Yeah.
I had actually a chat with him during a liaison, and his thing is growing and growing, and people love it. And apparently brands are more interested about this thing than in his racing career now.
That's cool, man.
It's great.
Yeah.
He has a new new
avenue.
thing growing, and it's great for him. It's good.
He's a great personality. Fun to have him.
Oh, he's crazy.
So people always love to know this. Slyhound from YouTube is asking all of you guys, if you weren't riding bikes professionally, what do you think you would be doing now?
Katy.
You go first.
Is riding bikes
You've got
not
a job.
professionally an
Yeah,
option?
I
Still
would be
ride bikes,
riding.
right?
Yeah.
That's how you know you guys ran it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
You love riding bikes so much. It doesn't even cross your mind to not ride bikes.
Yeah, it's hard to say that. I
Obviously,
think
we know for you what you'd be doing.
I'd hope not. But
Yeah.
I like what I do.
Yeah.
But I was a skier before I was into biking, so maybe I'd be doing that.
Cool. Okay, so this is more. What other professional sport would you do? That's kind of
Yeah.
what they're asking. Okay.
Well, I don't know.
For me, for sure, it's definitely been driven into sport.
Yeah.
So I'd probably be doing something, as long as it wasn't a team sport.
Yeah,
I'd be
there
in
you
it,
go.
yeah.
Other aspects. I played hockey. I like that.
Yeah,
I like being part of a team.
I think though when you're at school and you're with all the girls, it's hard to get them into it. They're not all into it, and that just put me off because I was like, "Come on, we're gonna win!" And they were just like, "Oh, I can't be bothered." Like, just would wander around trying to hit the hockey ball. And just like, oh.
Did you ever? It sounds like you started riding bikes so young. Did you ever have a period of time where you're doing any other sports?
Not really. I played judo a little bit.
Judo, like martial arts?
But I was really bad at it. I tried to play football, but I was really bad at it. I skied a little bit, but if I wasn't a professional athlete, I think I would be an actor. A bad one.
I can
but,
see that. I can see that. You got a picture now if you want it. You've been entertaining me all
Maybe
day.
a bad one, but who
Do you
cares?
ski in the winter now that you live here?
Yeah. I was thinking that I was a good skier when I was living in the south of France. Then I moved here, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's the way you ski. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty bad.
So Jesse, Stephen Cousser asks, do you remember when you used to work as a coach?
I still do. I'm
Nice.
coaching next week.
There you go.
Yeah. So
Stephen, get out here.
yeah.
Yeah.
You reminisce about old times.
No, it's something that I really like to do because I came up through all these programs in Whistler, and that helped me a bunch. I like to kind of give back and give my time back if I can.
That's right. I'm sure the
and
kids
it's
really appreciate it.
well, and they're sweet. It's fun to ride with them. They're, like you said, watching these kids in the bike park. You know, it's cool to have kids that like to pedal as well. So I coach in the bike park a bit, but mostly just on the valley trails and
And we coach
Pedaling.
together in winter.
yeah.
We have the high performance
school,
team.
yeah.
And some bunch of
For
stuff.
skiing.
No,
for
biking.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, we take them down to Squamish, North Vancouver.
Oh,
Yeah, we try to
great.
coach Finn Isles, but he mostly coaches us.
I was
so.
just gonna bring him up because I met him when he was probably 7 or 8 or something like that. His brother was in summer gravity camps. Remember
Yeah.
coaching his brother. Does it ever just blow your mind seeing these kids growing up in this atmosphere? You know, all the tools are there, but to see somebody like Finn who just really put it together, do you pinch yourself? Like, it was just
Yeah,
yesterday,
no,
he was a
it's-
little chocolate-faced kid.
It's true. But I think that what you said is like we have everything here we need to perform and to be the best, and it's cool to see you know, for me, it's cool to see Canadians and like kids coming up and getting into racing because there's kind of been a serious lack of that in most of the disciplines. So
Yeah, like when Stevie...
there's been a few, like Stevie was huge. I mean, and I hope that that kind of motivated a lot of kids to get in there, and maybe I can too. But it's just, yeah, Canada's kind of lacking. There's British cycling's huge, and then you know the French are always dominant.
I think it's just so fun here. It's easy to maybe not take a discipline.
I think that's what it is. Our trails are, you know, some of the best, and you can go up for a ride and not feel like you have to go fast. You can just go and enjoy the trails, and they're steep and they're techy, and you kind of just enjoy riding.
The spirit is different here than Europe.
Yeah.
Definitely. I felt it when I moved here, and in Europe it's always about racing. Here it's just about having fun. Like it's completely different.
I think the legacy of Stevie, one thing he really did was show all the kids that you know you can grow up dirt jumping, start racing downhill, enjoy every second of it, and then still become the best in the world.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He always like had a smile on his face and was super determined, but just you could tell he was just having so much fun riding his bike as fast as he could.
Yeah. And so now when you see kids who are following his footsteps, it's just it's really cool to see. So I think the future's bright for all the kids coming out of this.
Yeah.
This little
but
valley
not
here.
to say though that you have to race. You can just ride your bike and have fun.
Exactly.
But
As long
whatever
as
you
you're on
want,
bikes,
whatever you
it's
want to do.
Yeah.
Free ride.
Free ride. Free ride. You got to do Rampage in that uniform right there, please. Okay, last three, we're going to take them from YouTube. If you're not already doing it, subscribe to the Pinkbike YouTube channel. You can ask questions too. What was your first bike, Yoann?
Oh, I had you know the S bike. Nico Vuyos was racing with that like I don't know 25 years ago.
Yeah.
It was like a monotube thing, pretty weird.
What's the brand?
S bike.
Okay,
S bike. I don't know how to say it
It's
in
not
English.
like Sun. What's he?
His son was later.
Okay.
He had this red weird thing.
Yeah, like
And that was
like
my
top
first,
tube, down tube, same tube
yeah.
type deal.
Like that.
Was it a run bike or did it have?
No, that was a normal bike,
Yeah.
brakes and everything. So that's when I was 7, 8. Yeah,
Thank you, Nico.
it was great.
That's good.
It was
Those
good.
run bikes, man. I remember they started in Europe way before they made their way over here.
Yeah.
It was like the flat white.
Oh, yeah?
Finally made its way over.
Just like
But those things, man, they changed everything. Your first bike, Jesse?
My first like kind of real bike, I had a small bike that wasn't a run bike but had pedals. But after that I had a Norco Mini Mountaineer. So it's just rigid. I think it was 50 pounds, like solid steel. And it was so heavy. My parents like wouldn't carry it for me ever, and I just kind of had to push that around, and it was good.
So predictable. Your first bike came from a Nicholas Bulio's design, and your first bike was a Norco. So we've got a friend
Yeah.
from Scotland. Katy, what was your first bike?
I don't know what it was, but it was like a.
bike.
No, it wasn't. No, I wasn't.
Very
in,
serious about that.
Yeah,
No, it wasn't.
No, it was like
Cute bike.
it was cool. It was like a sort of BMX-y thing, and it was blue, and it had red tires. Red.
That stuck in your head. You
tires.
remember those red
Yeah?
tires?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
they leave red skid marks?
Yes,
Yeah,
they did.
gotta be
It
the
was
best.
so good.
They're
Yeah.
leaving your mark all over your hometown.
That
is cool.
Yep.
My first bike was a Dan Gurney. It had rear suspension from the 70s. It was a hand-me-down from my uncle. So my dad sourced it, and I still have it actually. Yeah, it's
Do you
pretty
actually
cool.
still have it?
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna hang it up. But yeah, rear suspension, no front suspension. So
What?
whatever you can get on, kids. You can have a red rear tire. It can be a hard nose. Just get on a bike. It could be a steel Norco.
Yeah.
Get out there. Well, what will you do in between this event here, Crankworks Whistler, and Finale Ligure? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep.
It's Le
Yeah.
Gray.
Well,
Ligure.
that's
Ligure.
Finale
He
Ligure.
knows.
Ligure.
Le Gear.
You must have bananas in your mouth to say it properly. Finale Ligure.
Ligure.
Mm.
So what are you guys gonna do?
Well, I'm gonna go home for a while because I've not been home for ages.
Yes.
And
Remember the names of your home trails.
yeah, I'm gonna remind myself what they're called. I've just got a downhill bike for the first time ever. I've ridden
Yes, first time.
First time.
No way.
I've
You got a
ridden
new session.
Yeah, I've ridden a downhill bike one time, and this is the first time I'm ever gonna have one. So I'm gonna be sending it up in the bike park for this
you're gonna be
week.
so
Then
psyched.
I'm gonna go home. There's a downhill race I'm gonna do. Yeah, of course. And then just do some training. I think have a nice chilled week here, and then get back on it.
Enduro is all about training.
All about training. Need spandex.
You need to leave stuff.
Lift
You
stuff.
lift
Just
things.
take it. Last time I
lift
tried to
things.
demonstrate that, I knocked stuff over. I'm not gonna do that again. Well, how will you be spending your time?
Yeah, so I got 2 weeks of coaching coming up, and
There
then
you go, Steven.
Yeah, I'll be out there. And then a couple bike shoots and try to relax a bit and train. Yeah, start training for next year basically. That's just one race way off in the distance, so it's kind of weird. I think, you know, maybe I'm just gotten to 5th overall and she's battling for 2nd, so it's kind of like pretty stressful a little bit to have one race at the end. That's such a big break. You don't know what can happen between now and then, and you want to make sure that you're doing a lot, but also not too much. And
I guess that's why it's a good question, then. You guys are all kind of deliberating.
I think all that really matters is just honestly riding.
Stay on your bike.
Stay on your bike, yeah.
Well, this last question.
Well, wait, what's Yoann
What are
gonna
you
do?
gonna do?
Yeah, what are you
Doesn't
gonna
want
ask
me
you?
to do it.
Yeah.
We're gonna ride together, right?
Well, we have a video project with Jesse. He doesn't know it yet, but we're gonna do a
All
video.
cyclocross bikes.
No, naked.
Naked, of course.
I'm gonna race a BC Enduro series, and I'm gonna bring some kids to do that. So I'm gonna coach them over there. I'm gonna race the Stevie Smith Memorial Downhill,
Rad.
and I don't know if I can say that, but I just got an invite yesterday
To Rampage. No, just kidding.
to race Red Bull Hardline.
All right.
So that's the week before Final Ligue.
Oh no way.
So I'm
Are
still
you accepting it, the invitation? Do you not sure yet?
Well, I'm not sure yet. I just want to know if I can ride it first because it's kind of. But I'm sure I'm gonna go.
You guys said the most important thing is just be on your bike a lot. That's
exactly.
definitely
If you
being
go
on your
ride
bike.
that, you're gonna come to finale and it's gonna be smooth. It's just gonna be
True.
What a
easy.
killer event, man.
Yeah.
Well, if you do that, it'd be exciting to see you there. That could be really cool.
Like that?
Like
Yes.
this.
Please do.
That's pretty fast.
With bananas in the goggles.
Yeah.
The last question. Now this is going to be interesting. Who will win the overall in men's EWS? Cecile has already won the women's series. She already locked it up.
Sam. He's too good.
Yeah.
He's just
Sam Hill.
he's just been so good everywhere. Like he hasn't really shown weakness.
Who is second?
Adrian.
Adrian?
I think.
Hey,
You can pull things out of
Adrian
that.
lives in Nice, which is like an hour and a half from
yeah.
Final
There you
Ligue,
go.
and I'm sure he's gonna.
Yeah, but what are the
That
points?
weird-
What's
He's
the
gonna,
point?
he's gonna be
he's
doing
gonna
between
polish
now and
all the trails. Like
Yeah.
he's gonna know even the rocks gonna know him.
Yeah.
They're gonna, oh, Adrian, here you are.
I'd be
Yeah.
curious what place Sam has to finish to clinch it.
Yeah.
110
gap
points.
is
So if
110
Adrian
points.
wins, that means Sam has to be like 3rd or 4th, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's
So still up in the
okay.
air for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's
exciting.
exciting.
That's so
I'm looking
good.
forward to
So
watching
what,
that.
what could possibly be a better way to end our chat here? Excitement for the last round of the EWS coming up from France. Thank you guys so much, Katy,
Thank you.
Jesse,
Thanks, Dan.
Yoann. It's been great
Thank you.
talking to you guys. I learned a lot about Enduro today. This has been episode 3 of Pinkbike Live here from Crankworks Whistler. It's Tuesday. We're going to be hitting you with
Remi,
more
come here.
episodes coming up. So stay tuned. Thanks for joining us.
Remi, come here.
Remi's getting in.
Come on, Remi, get in here.